Hello, Internet. Welcome to episode 355 of the Assorted Calibers podcast. The Sacramento podcast is a little bit for everyone. I'm Weer'd, and with me tonight, we are having an ACP Round Table. Of course, we are joined by the greatest hostess in the entire universe, Erin Paulette. How you doing, Erin?
Melting! I'm melting! Florida is super hot and super humid, and I keep getting pings on my phone about heat warning. So, yeah, it's hot as balls out here.
How's the AC working?
Oh, fortunately, the AC is working fine. I don't remember the quote, but with that thing from Dogma with Azrael, it's like, you know, no sin more pleasurable than central air.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, I mean it's toasty in New England, but when you drop that on the table, I can't compete with Florida heat. We just heard the voice of David. How you doing, David?
I can almost compete with Florida heat, and for non-coastal Florida, I think I can beat them for humidity. And
I'd take that Pepsi challenge.
I said non-coastal because once you get to the Winter Haven area. Yeah, they're like 120% humidity.
Yes, but it's also Florida is not a very wide state, completely surrounded by ocean, and then it's also the middle is all swamp.
Not all swamp, just mostly swamp.
We do have gills.
And we have Oddball.
Hello, and yes, it's freaking hot here too.
And we are also joined by the Geeks, Gadgets, and Guns boys. We have Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Is it hot there?
I mean, it's hot everywhere. It's also quite windy.
Yeah. And we have Heinrich.
Hello.
It's extremely windy there.
Yeah, we had basically Florida levels of heat and humidity the last couple of days, so I've got a giant thunderstorm over top of me. And we had a derecho last night. I haven't heard if it was official.
It was.
Oh, cool.
I mean, hurricane level winds, as you do.
Uh-huh.
But they don't swirl. They just go in one direction.
Yeah.
Which, that's really scary.
It's like, oh, hey, how about we have 120 mile an hour winds that drop down to ground level and then just go for 400 miles in a line.
All right, so all of the listeners on ACP hear those two voices thrown into the mix on an ACP round table, and I assume if you're listening to ACP, you do follow a bit of Second Amendment news, so you know we're going to talk about. So, but also you probably also know that there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. So we're going to dive right into it with there's a bunch of news stories that we got to hit quick because a whole bunch of them we're still within like the 72-hour bubble. So there's still a lot of information not out there, but we might as well cover the information we have. The first one I have listed here is that in Michigan, there was a stabbing at a Walmart. Evidently a suspect has this person been identified yet? I don't think they have.
Not from what I saw.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
I think he was identified, but it's one of those got memory hold with the rest of the story.
Yeah, that it reeks of his identity is being concealed for political reasons. But yeah, he pulled out evidently a pocket knife and just started stabbing people. 11 people were injured, several of them critical. I don't think any of them have died as of the recording of this show, and hopefully that could stay at zero.
And yes, he has been identified, and among other things, he's actually facing terrorism charges.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Actually rolling that one out.
without diving too deep into politics, Oddball, is there anything about the person's name of which we will not repeat that may give reason to think why they might have sat on his name for as long as they did?
No.
Okay.
I'm just curious why the terrorism charge. I don't object to it. I'm just curious
Yeah.
why.
Same.
Probably to pull it into a federal crime.
No.
Okay.
It could be.
Yeah, that could take it out of the hands of a DA they don't trust to charge him and go after it.
And it's looking like he's had multiple run-ins with the law in the past.
Oh, known to police?
Uh-huh.
We've never heard of that before. But
Imagine
I gotta
that.
say, this story is not getting a whole lot of play. One part, it's while it's a lot of victims, none of them have died at least at this point. So that certainly can make it a little bit less severe of a news story. But I'm also going to say that very potentially the other reason is that what brought this to a stop was, in fact, a concealed weapon holder.
The ubiquitous good guy with a gun.
Yes, and I believe it. Actually, let me see in the story that I just closed. Obviously, does it say if he was inside? I think he drew his gun inside the Walmart.
The one video clip I saw, he was in the parking lot. But
yeah, but I thought I remember read
started.
somewhere that he was inside the wall. He was witnessing the stabbing inside the Walmart. Drew the gun. The guy fled out into the parking lot, and he got the guy subdued enough for law enforcement to arrest him.
Yeah, the clip that I saw could have easily been after they had both come out into the parking lot and the guy had surrendered.
Yep.
Holy.
And so we don't name the shooter or the criminals in these cases, but good guys get names and good guys get praised. And Derrick Perry, holy crap! I mean, not only were you a hero here, but you also did it without firing a shot. You showed excellent restraint, a lot of bravery. Again, under no circumstances are you required to confront somebody or to save that. Your firearm really is just there to get you to safety. And this guy went into danger to protect others. And but
he was trained to go into danger.
That's true.
He's a Marine.
And according to this Detroit Free Press article I just pulled up, in 2017, after a competency hearing, the stabber was found not guilty by reason of insanity to charges of dismemberment and mutilation of dead bodies and malicious destruction of tombs and monuments.
He sounds nice.
Where he dug up a grave, stating that he thought that the person in the grave had been buried alive and
chopped them up to make sure they were actually dead.
I guess.
I don't think we really need to try to find any logic in this brain.
Yeah, we're trying to make sense of insanity.
It's special.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that he was like, he did something that crazy, and the solution is not to just keep him away from society until he could be fixed.
Yeah.
Well, starting with JFK administration, they closed a vast majority of the psychiatric facilities for that.
And like we've been talking about with red flag laws and all that, there's like, if somebody absolutely needs emergency mental health treatment, they have a hard time doing it. And as I've said before, I've got relatives and family members who have teenage children who are going through some pretty serious mental health issues. Actually, they're both a lot better now, but in the moments before they had figured out effective treatment, they were frequently going to the emergency room and one of these parents have a good amount of money that they can spend for healthcare and all that. Another one of these parents does not have a lot of money, and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, this is a major problem. It needs to be fixed in this country. And until they fix it, we have Derrick Perry.
Now, one of the things I want to point out, and I have a reason for it, I want to point out that Derrick Perry is a black man.
Yes.
And he has long dreadlocks. Now, I don't care that he's black. I truly don't. The only reason I bring it up is because a frequent canard of gun prohibitionists is that gun owners are only in favor of white people owning guns, and if you show black people owning guns, they're going to have a fit and they're going to want gun control. And we know that's a lie, because every time we see pictures of like a black family holding guns responsibly, we're all, hell yeah. And so
we know it's a lie. They know we know it's a lie. They keep lying.
Right.
Maybe they don't, because I do know that that Ryan Bussey frequently talks about the fact that all of the Second Amendment propaganda is all cornered around the fantasy of white men defending their family from black people. And
is he saying that because he believes it, or is he saying that because it'll get him media time?
Or is he saying that because the
points.
voices in his head told him it's true?
That would be him believing it.
I mean, yeah,
Because he says it out loud doesn't mean that he believes it. He may
certainly
be saying that lie because he knows it'll get him points.
I don't
Honestly,
know.
I'm just annoyed that this story got buried so quickly, because
That too.
Mr. Perry really, he should have gotten the coverage Eli Dickin did,
Yeah.
and even more, because knife fights you don't want to be near. No,
No.
that takes a whole nother level of courage to just I'm going to become a threat to a guy with a knife within tooler distance.
Yeah.
Well, according to the internet expert, is you shouldn't outweapon your opponent.
Yeah. It's like,
Well, actually,
if he had if the guy had rushed him and he'd had to shoot him, he'd have all of the internet experts saying that he should have not shot him or shot him in the
shot
leg.
Shot the knife out of his hand.
Yeah.
The one part that I just hadn't even thought about in watching this, but it's one of those, like, even if he had the gun trained on him and reacted properly on if he tried to charge it with a knife rather than surrender it, like, guns are death rays.
No.
You could shoot somebody in, like, unless you are literally shooting someone straight through the brain, and even then maybe not. Like, it's not a death ray. It's not going to just completely, turn them into a puddle of goo. Like, they're going to keep going with a knife. And as someone who has been stabbed by a dropped knife, like, it's
who stabbed you, Weer'd?
I mean, me and gravity. But
as someone that has spent many years studying various martial arts, all of the martial artists that I've trained with that have done anything with blades, including folks that their art was centered around knives or swords. They will quickly tell you, no, you want absolutely nothing to do with a knife fight.
Yeah.
And as someone who disarmed someone with a knife and by the grace of God didn't wind up in the hospital, I would never want to do that again.
Yeah. I used to do non-choreographed armored medieval fighting, and
I've
with
watched
20
some of
minutes
those.
to put all my armor on, I wouldn't want to fight someone with an actual knife.
Right.
Like, I've got full field plate, and like a knife won't go through any of the spots where there's actual armor, but there's enough places without armor. I wouldn't want to fight someone with a knife.
Mhm.
What was that line that you said about Oddball about pressing the knife into your opponent's armpit?
Yeah. Well, that and as one of my instructors that did weapons training, he liked to say, "Yeah, there's no such thing as a knife fight, just stabbings."
Well,
Slashings.
as
Yeah.
I've heard it, in a knife fight, the winner goes to the hospital, the loser goes to the morgue.
Yep, I was going to quote that one as well.
Or the winner falls down a block away.
Another variation I heard of that was the winner of a knife fight is the one who bleeds out last.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
But yeah,
again,
in conclusion, the good guy with a gun is a black man. Something we're told never happens, but it did. And gun owners are very, very happy that this brave black man was there and did the right thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and also it
One
happened.
little-
Oh, go ahead, David.
One little thing I was going to add to that was it's the internet. So when photos were released of Derrick Perry holding the knife wielder at bay with his handgun, they immediately started critiquing his stance and his grip. Nothing about his skin color, nothing about his hairstyle, just his stance and his grip. That's all I saw. Because it's the internet.
And yeah, and also I will note that while Walmart, I don't think officially has posted any of their stores. Maybe they have in some states, but I've never seen it.
Not in
They
Florida.
have strongly encouraged people to not carry guns.
Yeah.
My local Walmart is only posted with a please don't open carry.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Okay.
they don't say anything about concealed carry. They just have a polite request to not open carry.
Which is fine.
It's like, yeah, that's my preference is to concealed carry. And if they're going to politely request people to not carry at other people, I don't mind that.
All right, David, can you take this next story?
Okay, so something that can't happen happened again.
Mm-hmm.
But this one didn't happen and happened even more so. And that is that there was a shooting in New York City. Shocking. It's a day that ends in Y.
That's impossible.
Impossible, absolutely. The difference is that the shooter, whose name of course will not be mentioned, traveled from Nevada to New York City with what, based on the surveillance footage, looks clearly to be an AR platform of some sort, and went into downtown or Midtown Manhattan, depending on how you're reading it, and shot 4 people, including an off-duty, the current reports are off-duty NYPD officer who was working as security at the investment firm, or the building where the investment firm was.
And what did he use as a weapon?
The bad guy?
Yes.
Yes, he had an AR platform rifle.
But those are illegal in New York City.
Yeah.
As was the standard capacity magazine he had in that rifle.
I saw I don't believe the report, but some government person was saying M4 rifle.
No, it was
Yeah.
He walked in with.
No.
And it's like,
Yeah,
I'm assuming it was an M forgery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, not even quite an M forgery, because it was technically, from the pictures that I saw, technically it was an AR pistol with an arm brace.
Okay. So I was trying to figure out if it was a military or police stolen M4 that he somehow got a hold of.
Supposedly, a friend helped him buy parts that he assembled, but even after doing that, he went out and bought a handgun. So it's
Okay.
not like he
Yeah.
was prohibited. So
Yeah. And like I said,
we are in
still
48 hour.
Right, we're still in 48 hours, but the surveillance imagery quite clearly shows him walking across the plaza towards the building with this rifle openly held at his. And you might be wondering, why was he not confronted? Why was he not stopped? Why was he not challenged? Because this is Midtown Manhattan. No one is armed by
Kitty
law.
Genovese could not be reached for comment.
Yeah, because she died.
I mean, heck, most folks still can't, even though it's legal technically to have a pocket knife on you. If you're taking the subway, you
Yes.
can't have one on you.
Yep. If it could be opened with one hand by any permutation of that, meaning the MTA regulations, so subway or bus. But anywho, here's, hold on a second.
It has
this
since...
is a conglomerate-ish image I'm just going to toss into the chat. We don't need to discuss his name or anything like that, obviously. But so he went in, he killed several people, took an elevator up to the 33rd floor where he ended himself.
The shame he got it in the wrong order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He should have done it in the other order without having to travel across the country to murder 4 people.
So it looks like it's been memory hold, but on the TwiX, there was a statement by Giffords, essentially stating that gun control laws work, and we need more of them to prevent these kinds of shootings. And
yes, that was Giffords.
Yeah.
Actually,
and they left the comments open because, well, I don't think you can restrict comments on the TwiX. And
you can restrict comments to only verified users, I believe.
Okay. Well, as the kids say, Giffords got dragged.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was self-evident. Gun laws work, and then there's photographic evidence of the gun laws not working. So I'm guessing someone realized this was poor optics and deleted or changed the TwiX because now the link leads to something related, but they're whinging about Trump and the Second Amendment.
Yeah, the laws certainly did not evaporate that rifle out of his hands as he walked across the plaza.
Nope.
Yeah, I think one of the most common comments on that Giffords TwiX were photos of the gun-free zone signs around that area of Manhattan. And they, as Heinrich said, they did not evaporate the gun, so the signs obviously don't work, which means they need more signs. But
clearly,
yeah. So
bigger font, brighter colors.
Yeah, but of course, all of the usual suspects are dancing in the blood of these 4 people who were murdered and the one who was injured.
Oh my God, I was wrong. I apologize. It wasn't Giffords. It's Brady United. That's why I couldn't find it. Yeah,
and much difference between them.
True. An important reminder that gun laws work and a clear indicator that Congress needs to take action to prevent shootings like the one that wreaked havoc in Midtown yesterday.
Yeah. Tone-deaf called. They want their name back.
Yeah, exactly.
But all the usual suspects are just being horrible people, as they always tend to be. And I've also seen things put up by Governor Hochul and a variety of state and federal representatives, and they're all running from the same script. This is why we need more gun laws. It's like, because he broke them all. There's investigation is ongoing. Mayor Adams is sending investigators to Nevada, where the shooter came from. And one of the things that Mayor Adams said was investigators believe the shooter was headed for the NFL, but took the wrong elevator. Now, my understanding from reading various articles, the people that he shot were all in the lobby before he got on the elevator.
I had heard he shot somebody after getting off the elevator upstairs.
Okay. That, again, we're still in the 48 hours, so you probably read something more recent than I had.
It's one of those, you never know what to trust on this stuff.
Yeah. But it is a tragedy, and our hearts go out to the victims and their families.
Mm-hmm.
And our disdain goes out to those who would try to make political points over their suffering.
Absolutely.
And that's all I think I'm willing to say about that right now.
All right.
Because this is not a mag dump, so I can't really express myself fully.
Yep. Now, next one, we're going to Ohio. This one, literally just happened, this morning.
And I can't even make my usual Ohio's not real joke because this is serious.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a five charge over attack on white couple at Cincinnati Jazz Festival, and Unfortunately, I do have to say that it was definitely a whole bunch of black individuals beating very severely. Yep,
Did you see the video
I did.
of the woman getting hit and just dropping like a puppet with her strings cut?
Yeah, and that was
Just like
that
one
was,
blow to the back of her head and she went down.
Yep.
Or side of her back or side, I don't remember. But one blow to the head and she just dropped.
Is she okay?
Don't know. I have not seen reports on her condition.
I mean, I know that there was a few, maybe it was last year, there was a bunch of teenage girls fighting, and one of them knocked one girl over and slammed her head a couple of times on the ground and knocked her unconscious. And she had some pretty serious brain injury from that.
Yeah.
But
as I understand it, when you are knocked unconscious from a blow to the head, that is a concussion. The concussion is what causes you to lose consciousness. And so a concussion is a brain injury. It may be a mild one, but it is a brain injury. And so you got to take those seriously.
So reading the article a bit more, apparently she was punched in the face, knocked to the ground, and didn't get up.
Yeah.
But was later helped up.
Being knocked unconscious like that is a TBI.
Yes. Can confirm. Yeah. Even if you just lose consciousness for a few seconds, your off switch has been hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing that makes you go unconscious is a traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And hopefully we will see. Well, we may never know, but hopefully it's not racially motivated. It just happened to be two groups of people that were of the same race going up against each other. But it was a very savage beating, and it's.
Yeah, so an argument broke out. Apparently, the white man laid hands on the person who's arguing with, and then it just, like a super saturated solution, just crystallized, and they knocked him down, kicking and punching and stomping on his head while he's on the ground. And the woman was just punched and dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's plenty of video, apparently, both from street security video and handheld video from bystanders. So there's a lot of documentation of this, but it's just not good. And what is it that is it Ian or Kelly said that most of these stupid things in places?
Tom Givens? Stupid places, stupid people, stupid times.
Yep.
Okay, I also heard Law Dog. And
it's been repeated by.
I don't know who originated it, but it is a definite yes.
The times I've heard it, it's been attributed to Tom Givens as the originator.
Okay.
I've heard it from several places attributed to him.
Yep. And the follow-on link that I tossed on here, I don't know if anyone got to look at it, but two of the people who were involved in that altercation were arrested, and they were already freed on bail, even though one of the guys who was arrested was facing various weapons and other charges at the time of the attack.
Wow.
But
sounds about right.
He was released on bail. So,
all right, moving on. The next one here. This is out of Florida. Erin, have you heard about this story?
The door kick challenge. I mean, technically yes, but only because you brought it to my attention.
Okay.
So yeah, the door kick challenge is where teens have airsoft guns and masks, and they will kick a door as if they're trying to kick the door open, and then shoot the airsoft at it, and then run away giggling. And so, I mean, this has all the hallmarks of teenage hijinks. It's very similar to prank videos. And this is an excellent way for somebody to be shot. Because if you hear a loud thump on your door late at night and you see that they have what appears to be a gun, because in this clip I'm looking at, it looks like the guy has an airsoft Uzi, and then turns and points it at your door. I mean, if you're right there and if you're strapped, it's unlikely that they could get shot, but it's not worth it. And so this is another example of stupid people doing stupid things at stupid times.
Honestly, it sounds like a great cover for actual criminals to go, oh no, we were just doing a prank challenge.
This is kind of cover for home invasion crews mixed with like high proof teenage stupidity, and then some internet thrown into it to spread it around for more people to try.
Yeah. There was also on one of the things I saw online about the door kick challenge, somebody put up a video unrelated to the door kick challenge specifically, but it was a fellow in an apartment complex trying to kick down an apartment door while yelling at the person inside. Apparently it was a domestic. And a neighbor came out and just laid into the guy, knocked him out. And this guy, he's wearing the neighbor, shorts, t-shirt, barefoot, comes up and just clocks the guy, head into the door, knocks him to the ground, punches him, yells at him, kicks him a few times, kicks him a few more times. And all I'm thinking is like, I hope he didn't hurt his foot. Because the guy who was trying to kick the door, and like I said, it was a domestic. He had just gotten out of jail after being arrested for assaulting the woman in the apartment. So he was apparently released earlier that day and came back to start things up again.
Real piece of work, that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But and hopefully he learned a little bit of something from the neighbor's reaction, but I find it unlikely.
Yeah, that's the kind of person that doesn't learn from mistakes. Theirs or others.
Yep. But it's just, you start kicking at someone's door, bad things are likely to happen.
And I looked up where this was, and it's in Hillsborough County, which is part of the Tampa-St. Pete Metroplex, which, while not super violent, to my understanding, has its fair share of violence. And so, yeah, that real good way for someone to get shot.
It's like, this is like having kind of shades of the airman that got shot by the police officer last year.
Oh, yeah.
Where officer was beating on the door and then hid, and guy came to the door with a gun in hand because
Pounding on his door.
Someone was beating on his door and then wasn't there to be seen looking through the peephole.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen the video of that. Is basically as soon as the guy starts to open the door, the officer opens fire.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't...
It's like,
okay, that was last year. That was in May 2024. His name is Roger Fortson.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything about that recently. I got to dig that up.
Was that another Broward County thing, or was that a different county?
That was Okaloosa, which is basically South Alabama.
Alabama okay with that nomenclature?
Ask me if I care.
I just remember that the airman who was shot by the officer was a loader on a AC-130 gunship.
Mm-hmm.
So
highly
trained and pretty switched on, and wasn't going to be doing stupid things.
Okay, so just following up here, because I didn't hear anything about this. The deputy who shot him is being referred to as the former deputy, so he was fired. He was, in August of that year, he was arrested and charged with 1 count of manslaughter with a firearm. He was then released from jail after posting a $100,000 bond. So I assume that the trial is going to be starting at some point.
Yeah,
so,
that's more than I kind of expected to happen.
Me too.
Usually someone acting with authority of the government doesn't ever have consequences for that.
Unless it's politically or socially expedient.
Yeah. It's kind of nice to see that maybe they actually see some consequences for poor judgment.
Sure hope so.
Would be a nice change from status quo.
Let's see.
All right. Do we have to talk about the NFA and Murphy?
Yeah, I think we do. We can just do it real briefly, though.
I've got a rant in me for the NFA 24/7 queued up. I don't think we have time.
Yeah.
Weird. He's your favorite member of Congress. Take it.
All right, so yeah, here we got it. This is something that actually a lot of people predicted might happen when as part of the big beautiful bill reducing the tax stamp fee from $200 to $0 on it was suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
And AOWs.
And AOWs.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it said, well, look, once you start messing with the cost of it, then there's nothing stopping them from making it go up. And which I would always point out, there's nothing stopping them from making it go up anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, really, he has become the new Chuck Schumer. They have passed the mantle on. That now he's the crazy one, and Chris Murphy is proposing to raise the tax stamp from, the traditional $200, call it $0, whatever, to $4,709, which I have to assume I've done a inflation adjustment calculator, and given the fact that it's and9. It's not a particularly round number at all in any sense of the word, that he did some sort of inflation calculation on the $200 tax stamp.
Yeah, it was to November of last year.
Yeah.
And I would actually argue that, number one, it's Chris Murphy. He's not well liked. So I don't know if this will get any traction whatsoever. Certainly call your senator and your member of the House of Representatives to let them know that you don't like this and this is stupid and dumb, and we really need to be getting rid of the NFA, not making it more expensive.
We don't like this. We don't like him.
But also, one thing that I have noted that I keep saying as one of those, okay, yeah, we're all disappointed that suppressors with the Hearing Protection Act and the Short Act were taken out of the big beautiful bill. We would love to see those laws into effect. We'd love to see the NFA gone entirely, or the Hughes Amendment repealed, etc. But
or all of the above.
Yeah, but the big thing is these laws have been in effect since just about everybody that's in this country has been alive. So the idea of walking into a hardware store and walking out with a Lottie or walking out with a 1919 or a Thompson is just nobody remembers that. And so, there are people that still remember, going into Target in Massachusetts, or I don't know if there was a Target in Massachusetts or all that, but going into a Sears in Massachusetts and buying a rifle and not needing to show any paperwork. But yeah, this is way, way, way older than that. And so just the idea that now we're discussing it, I think, is only in our favor, because
the Overton window has definitely been moved to our benefit.
And honestly, there is an argument for raising a tax to this usurious of a rate is going to very much set up a court challenge. And the truth is, I'm surprised they're so restrained to only raise it this far. I'm kind of surprised they're not making it 10 grand.
Yeah,
actually, exactly. So I think it's an interesting statement, because I did an inflation calculation just to see, and it was something in the vicinity of $5,000. I think I mentioned it on a previous show, but
Yeah.
I know
Close
one,
to.
one inflate, and of course these are not exact science, but so this is one of those things that this was inflation. This is inflation adjusted. It was close to $5,000, and so that is super duper onerous. I mean, it's one of those. Most suppressors cost around $200, and again, you can.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
If only.
Are they
Most
gone way up above
suppressors
that?
are 800
Like
and up.
$1,000.
For
Yeah.
center fire suppressors. You can find some rim fire suppressors for $350 and up.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you'll see them for $2. I think somebody showed off one for like $120 at
The-
GunCon.
There was a couple years ago, there was a whole big deal done about the Po' Boy suppressor for $200.
Yeah.
It
I
was
got
like
a Po' Boy 30
it was
for
like
$199.
it's like, hey, this is $199. It's $1 cheaper than your stamp.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
And that was
there
the
are.
whole shtick.
Yeah,
And
they don't make them anymore.
Yeah,
yeah,
it is
most
fairly
of them
common.
are.
Hold on, Oddball, what was that?
Yeah, let Oddball go.
It is fairly common for like the companies to sell like the $1,400 center fire suppressor, and as a special sale, you buy one of those and they'll throw in a 22 suppressor for free, just the extra tax stamp.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That, or they'll cover the cost of your stamp for you.
Yep.
But
No.
as someone who worked at a store that sold suppressors, I think the cheapest suppressor I saw was a $350 22 suppressor, and the most expensive was, I think, a $1,400 or $1,500 7.62 suppressor. And I know there are more expensive ones than that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Definitely when you're getting into the titanium or space age alloys,
Yeah,
particularly 3D printed, you're talking 12 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 3D printed super alloys are like $1,400.
Yeah, but they're so cool.
Yeah.
You mean like the PTR one that has porous titanium induced into it to better absorb the sound?
Yeah. Or
deliberately...
the Faxon 3D printed internal suppressors that we saw at NRA.
Yeah.
The one that looks like a coral.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean they're 22 can, which is what they call 22 can, and the bird logo is a traditional baffle stack, but their center fires are just these absolutely gorgeous 3D printed metal sculptures.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're getting a little off track.
Yeah, and of course, also, come January, I'm sure David and Oddball will be like submitting like a baker's dozen of Form 1s to start making suppressors, and you'll be making a whole bunch of suppressors that you can just shoot and shoot and shoot. No, if they blow up, they blow up. We'll throw them away and get a new one.
I have a 3D printer and a metal lathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I already have a trust. Oh, you
Oddball, you got to get going on that.
Actually, Oddball, I could add you to the trust. There won't be a fee this time.
True.
Oh, yeah.
That you wouldn't have to worry about most of that paperwork.
Well, you'd have to have copies of his prints, and once a year get a new mugshot.
I haven't had to get a new mugshot for the trust since I got it.
That's only for submitting new stamps.
Yeah, but if you're printing, you're going to be submitting stamps.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I only had to do the photo for... Oh, no, I did do the photo for the second one. Never mind.
Yeah, you do it once a year. So as long as the photo is less than a year old, you can reuse it. Otherwise, new photo time.
Yeah, because my last suppressor came through, I believe it was April of 24, after 250 days.
Oof.
So I would definitely need to get a picture for the next one.
Yep. Right. I mean, go for it now. There's a lot of people doing deals where you get a free stamp.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the store where I work was doing a deal with a layaway is 10% down, pay 10% a month. When you're paid off, It's now January. You've got your suppressor. You just need to do the paperwork, and they help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd do it now while the wait times are low. Then again, who knows how bad they're going to get in January.
Yeah, that's really going to get insane. I'm not in a particular rush, and the $200 is worth more to me than that time.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, if you haven't yet, try one of the new 3D printed designs. They are way more effective than even a high-end traditional baffle stack one.
Yeah. Well, the suppressor I have on layaway is a Gemtech 22 suppressor, so it's not a big deal at that level. The one after that, I'm going to probably wait for one of the Faxon 3D printed suppressors, because those are just so cool. But if Chris Murphy has his way, which it looks nearly impossible that he will,
for now.
Yeah, there's been no movement on it, but yeah, of course, the question is, when they get back in control, they could jack it back up, and especially now that it's been pointed out that, oh, hey, yeah, you can do this.
Yep. Yeah, 91 years and no one thought of this.
And really what it comes down to is, can any of the lawsuits get completed in time before they jack it up again, or will they get mooted? And then the flip side comes, if they do get it through, raise it to a usurious rate, can we get that through before that case gets mooted?
Well, I also like to point out the fact that the Second Amendment is not partisan at all. And I will note that the NFA was entirely designed as a system to keep poor people from getting the wrong kinds of guns, including handguns. And so, and the idea being
firearms.
that $200 in 1932 was I think was it like a Model A Ford, like $500?
Well, I know that a
something like that, yeah.
A Thompson submachine gun was $200 to $250.
And it's well documented as the most egregiously priced submachine gun. And
for what it went into it wasn't egregiously priced. It was just really bloody expensive.
Yeah. But it's one of those.
Basically, they took a block of steel and milled a gun out of it.
Yeah. But the whole reason why the grease gun exists and all that was because, we can't afford the Thompson.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that blish lock was not cheap, and it was the most important part of the gun.
About that.
So I don't get the joke.
Okay, in the original Thompson submachine gun design, it was not considered a straight blowback, but a delayed blowback using what was called the blish lock, which was the principle of stiction between different metals. So there was I think brass or bronze wedge. Okay, I can't remember if it was brass or bronze, but brass wedge that would, because as the bolt slid across it, the brass against the steel bolt would cause it to slow down. It didn't.
But it did have a mechanical interference plus the weight to slightly slow it down.
Yeah, but the British found out that the blish lock was not a mag dump.
Yeah.
They removed the bits and found out that, oh, hey, the gun keeps working anyways.
Yeah.
Yep. No real difference. I mean, it may have been a few rounds per second faster, but not really noticeable.
This reminds me of a Ruger pistol manual where it said, "Please be careful when reassembling your gun to replace the replace the mag disconnect. For if you forget to replace the mag disconnect, the gun will still be functional."
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Prohibition era. Do not take this block of compressed dehydrated grape juice and put it in a glass bottle with a package of yeast and put it in the back of the cabinet for a month.
Of course, you were asking about, can the lawsuits get completed in time? And that leads to our next topic, which is the California ammo background check being ruled as unconstitutional by a Ninth Circuit 3-judge panel appellate court.
I mean, I'm as shocked by that as by anything else, really.
I'm not.
No, I'm not either.
Really?
And
It's
here's
too
the thing.
egregious.
So people are saying that this is a great win, etc. And I'd like to be amongst them. One, this is not this is not the 9th en banc. And two, this is a case that was first started in 2017.
Oof.
And it has been bouncing around the Ninth Circuit since then. It was on the district level. It was in front of St. Benitez, who said, yes, this is unconstitutional. I believe a 3-panel appellate court, or a 3-judge appellate court panel, also said, yeah, after delaying, yeah, this is unconstitutional. The en banc said, sat on it for a while, and then, oh, hey, NYSERPA versus Bruin just got ruled on, and we're going to bump it down to the district level because that changes everything, and it needs to be reheard under the new direction that SCOTUS has given us from NYSERPA versus Bruin, which, if the courts were being vaguely honest, would be making it easier to declare a gun law unconstitutional, not harder. So there was no reason whatsoever to send it back down. But it went all the way back down to the district, and surprise, surprise, Benitez said, yeah, it was still unconstitutional. And now it's back at it's now gotten back past through the 3-judge panel, and it's going to be appealed again to the appellate court, and the Ninth Circuit is going to figure out some way to reverse it, whether through an actual vaguely form of logic, or just by doing what they've done in the past and just ignoring what precedence has been set. And it's going to have to go back up to SCOTUS. And in the meantime, this, like I said, this is a court case dealing with the law where the lawsuit started, 8 years ago now?
Near enough, if not.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
The system is the punishment.
Yeah, and
Process,
the horrible thing is it's judges that are actually playing these games with our rights.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it may eventually finally get ruled in our favor, but we also have even SCOTUS going, well, yes, we will need to rule on this subject at some point, but we don't feel like it now.
Today is not that day.
Because, well, our docket is just too full at ruling at hearing a fraction of the number of cases that we used to hear a couple decades ago.
I wonder what the average age of the court looks like now versus then. That might be an interesting take on it.
Of SCOTUS?
Yes.
They weren't spry then either.
No. They've never been spry.
I mean, by the very nature of being able to get up to being SCOTUS, you're not going to be particularly young.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, can we just clone Clarence Thomas?
And if you want to hear more of my rant about that, check out the latest MagDunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what the left would have to say when you realize that pretty much everyone on the right goes, can we get more Clarence Thomases on the court, please?
Well, there was a meme about that. It was the top half was some progressive saying something about how all people on the right are racist and they just don't want black people in positions of power. And the bottom half was the right's ideal Supreme Court, and it was 9 Clarence Thomas.
Well, according to Kay, Clarence Thomas is a white man that's a clown in blackface.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, yeah,
Let's George Takei. In his defense, I really do think that he just has severe untreated mental illness, and we should just leave him the hell alone, especially since he attempted to form an anti-gun group. With Lad Everett as the as the policy director, formerly of CSGV, and he was a particularly nasty person that was an internet stalker and like it doxed George Zimmerman in hopes that someone would kill him. And so, yeah, I was hoping that I would be getting some weird Audio Fisk stuff from it, and nothing came of it, and it's since disbanded. So I think we can just leave George alone.
Well, and also I believe it was I believe it was a Saturday night live sketch back shortly after he got onto the bench that straight up treated him as an Uncle Tom that was just happy to be there.
Ugh. All right, let's get away from this and move on to far less. Yeah, far less.
Next year, all Heinrich and Matthew.
Yeah. Do you guys want to just run with this?
I mean, honestly, it's Cygnus. It's the news that keeps on giving.
Actually, yeah, Erin, can you explain this to everyone?
Or down with the Cygnus.
I'm not entirely clear what I'm trying to explain.
The definition of Cygnus.
Are you talking about the thing that I invented earlier, but which is not Cygnus?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Oh,
What did I screw up, Erin?
everything.
You make everything awful.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a sound clip for that.
Okay, so we've
Everything
all
awful.
Yes, thank you. So we've all heard about the Barbara Streisand effect, or just the Streisand effect, which is the unintentional result of bringing more attention to something that you don't want things brought attention to. And Sig Sauer is doing something kind of similar to that, except that they're doing it intentionally, and they definitely want everyone to know about it. And so I felt this deserved its own term. And so I have coined it Sig Sauering. And you can spell it the traditional way, or you can spell it all as one word, with sour being spelled Souring. So, Sig Sauering, verb, transitive, informal. The act of aggressively retaliating against criticism of a product or decision in a way that alienates the public, exacerbates reputational damage, and turns more people against the brand or entity. In other words, you are souring public opinion against your product. And so, as an example of the usage here, by suing the police academy that banned their weapon, the company totally sig-soured the situation.
Well played.
Accurate.
Yeah, they're really sigging this mess up.
They're down with the Cygnus.
All right, so what is the big event that kicked this all off? The big tragic event.
There was a leak last week at this point of a death of an airman at a Wyoming base, and the information there are a couple different versions of it, but one of the versions was the pistol was inside its holster. It was taken off using a Safariland ALS fork to just remove the entire holster with the gun inside it, set on a desk, went off, shooting him in the chest, killing him. There are other versions of that, but that is kind of the accepted one at this point. After that, one specific section of the Air Force basically pulled all 320s from use, and then I saw another article today where another separate branch of the Air Force also is suspending the M18 from use.
Correct.
For doing an evaluation. where I believe I've also heard that the Marines are in the process of doing an evaluation of the 320s at this time as well. That is
Yeah.
pretty much the totality of what's going on the military side, and anything we know outside of those announced memos that have been leaked to the press is all leaks and people saying what supposedly has happened, and we have zero proof.
Mm-hmm. Some documents have been leaked that purport to be inspection procedures.
And areas to inspect within the gun.
Yep. Which largely coincide with what various YouTubers have identified as points of concern.
And what the FBI was looking at in theirs, and other investigations.
Yep. So it's kind of the documents look fairly legit because they're focusing on the parts of the gun that everyone who's investigating have been focusing on so far.
And then, of course, we have the video that dropped over the weekend that has gone so viral that even my just standard run-of-the-mill mother-in-law has seen the videos where a guy put a screw into the trigger of a 320 and caused it to discharge.
Yeah.
But that's really a fundamental misunderstanding of what the gun is. I'm not sure by the original creator whether or not that was a fundamental misunderstanding by him, but it is a fundamental misunderstanding of a large portion of the gun community who is sharing it, saying, this proves that this 320 is unsafe, yet I keep hearing people saying they're taking up slack in the trigger.
So
the
also just want to point out that Brandon Herrera and Angry Cops both shared the video that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And in the comments on their video, I linked to your It Endies Today video saying that they need to look at that for more details.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, because really, there are issues all around, but what the Wyoming Gun Project's video really demonstrated is, hey, the 320 doesn't have any useless trigger movement. No matter how much anyone thinks I'm just taking up slack in the trigger, on the 320 design, what you are feeling in that quote-unquote slack section is you are lifting up on the lever that disables the striker block safety. As soon as you hit the quote-unquote wall, or where the slack has been taken up, that is actually the beginning of sear movement. And the 320 is only rotating the sear down out of striker engagement. So any movement at that point, you have one safety either partially or fully defeated, and a second safe, and then the sear is releasing.
Yeah, the actual activation of the gun has started.
Yeah, well, the activation of the gun has started the moment you're touching the trigger.
Yeah.
And really, it does indicate we need to better train the gun community on, with this gun, never touch the trigger until you're on target ready to fire. Because just resting your finger on that, pulling any movement on the trigger at all, you are activating the firing sequence and deactivating safeties.
Yeah.
Which means it is more likely to go off.
That's basically part of Cooper's rules. When you put your finger on the trigger and start pulling it, you should be anticipating the gun going off at any instant.
Yeah, but look at revolvers and Glock triggers where people will stage a trigger and they think that is normal.
It's a common practice. But common does not mean safe.
And some designs can tolerate that more than others.
Yeah. And the SIG 320, from digging through this thing, I still haven't figured out where it's unsafe, but it does seem intolerant of various errors.
Well, it's also a bit disturbing to hear that the pulling of the trigger back until it hits the wall that is actually dealing with releasing the firing pin, where that very light portion is actually disengaging the safety, where, like you said, it's enough that a huge percentage of the people out there on the internet are thinking that they're just taking up the slack, which is kind of normal and expected in other firearms.
Yeah.
And that is a variance, because like on a Glock, you have on the trigger bar a raised portion that only when that raised portion hits the pin inside the slide does it release the safety, and that is basically right at activation. The 320 has a very long window of activation to unblock the trigger, the sear safety. So you have a long distance of travel relative to the trigger travel. Actually, I'd say probably half or more of the trigger travel is the process of unlocking that safety, which is far longer than other pistols.
And it being that light, I could see that being pulled back by, say, the natural friction of a Kydex holster.
And that is one thing that a dingus on the trigger would resolve and would account for why a 320 is more sensitive to a lot of this than another design, because in other designs, if you have the dingus, if something is adding friction to the side of the trigger blade, it's probably not going to do anything because it has the safety dingus.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with the 320, it doesn't. But then you also have guns like the 509 and some of the Smith & Wessons where it's a segmented trigger where there's two sections, and those are not having that issue.
Yeah, the trigger is hinged. I have one of the early 2.0 Smiths, and it's a hinged trigger. Is pulling the bottom half of the trigger disengages that trigger block. The newer ones have the kind of Glock style, if you will, dingus, which is centered within the trigger and removes any risk of friction on the side of the trigger shoe affecting anything. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about the hinged trigger on a Smith causing this issue. And it basically be that the trigger guard and trigger widths are enough different that it would be very difficult for something to engage the side of the trigger.
It's possible. It also could be how many of them are there out there? I mean, yes, there are a lot of MMPs out there, but there are
several million.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are
basically they're second to Glock in law enforcement holsters.
Yep. And we have 5 million apparently 320s out there currently was
it 5?
That was supposedly the
last I heard was 3.5.
The link you shared over the weekend from sales conferences where that 5 figure came from.
Okay.
So
yeah. So it's 1 or 2 in a million is still a dozen guns.
Yep.
And I wouldn't, as I said early on in this, I wouldn't be surprised if out of those several dozen incidents, if at least half of them were user or operator related errors, but not all of them. And now with this poor airman losing his life, it's pretty well documented.
There have been incidents where it was not user error, and it cannot be just written off as Glock hand, Glock leg.
Right.
This is something in a tolerance stack up, or a thing not put together right is causing a problem, and no one has found it yet.
So you've possibly addressed this, but I do want to call this out specifically because I do frequently see, in YouTube comments and on social media about how this is a holster issue and people are worrying over nothing. There's nothing wrong with the gun. It's just a holster issue. And what do you specifically say to that?
I think that there are multiple different issues that are occurring. Holsters can be a contributing factor. Specifically, the gun that the FBI took a look at from the Michigan State Patrol, there's a mark in the trigger guard that was replicated if the officer's keys were in the holster and pried against it. It makes a similar mark when the trigger goes off. So that could plausibly have been the trigger that caused that one to go off. But there are also failure modes in the 320 design that could be occurring without any holster input at all. And then you have there was an incident in Colorado about a month ago where a guy was confronting a kid in a car, pointed the gun at him, and he said the gun just went off. Well, with the Wyoming Gun Project video would demonstrate the number one thing for that guy's lawyers are cheering about is, okay, there was just enough input on that trigger that, yeah, it was jostled and it went off to try and avoid liability for shooting the kid. That's the 320 has, honestly, the number of variants inside the 320. You have multiple different lines SIG is producing, but then you also have parts variations across the years, and many of them are unmarked. So we keep calling it the 320, and it is like it's one gun, one design, one variant. It's not. There's not a one standard. There's not a, this is the gold standard, this is what it should be, and maybe we have this extra version or lesser version. It's kind of a random mix what's out there, and then you have the whole, it was sold on, you can mix and match this gun, which makes it even more what goes together and what works.
Being a modular design, there are hundreds of variants.
And the part
millions.
Numbers.
Yeah.
And
Part numbers.
There's the parts number issue, which we're not going to delve into right now until we produce a video, because
we're still gathering data.
We're still gathering data and still acquiring, I believe, at least one last major sample to produce that. But there are changes of the behaviors of the internals that are not being rolled out consistently across the 320s. So thanks to your help, David, we were able to identify between May and June of 24, the behavior of the sear and the takedown safety lever changed. But mainline guns,
Can help.
so that means just like your base level 320, did not get that upgrade until the nice, fun time frame of May or June of 2025. So some lines had certain changes rolled out more than a year in advance. And then there are markings that we believe are for machine code to do quality control tracking or some other machining process tracking that we see on some guns as early as 2023 and possibly sooner. We just haven't seen variants of it other than the one specialty one we're still trying to acquire. But you have mainline guns that don't have that upgrade at all. There is no marking on there. So are we looking at, okay, they produced this fire control unit blank years ago and they're still working through those in that line? Are those completely different? Are they lesser quality control checks? No one knows. And that's the terrifying aspect. But even with the updated
someone may
one,
know.
Oh, SIG knows for sure.
Yeah.
What's been
someone
disclosed
knows and they
to the
won't
public.
tell anyone.
But then you also have stuff like we said in the M17 and M18 guns sold in 2024. By late June of 24, there was an updated behavior on the takedown safety bar. There is no documented difference on that. It's using the same exact part number, and there is no consistency on that number to even tell you, hey, cool, this is the updated version. There's not even like a little punch mark on there or anything. And when you realize, okay, we know...
Just sitting here shaking my head.
Yes. And that's the terrifying aspect. And I have an M17 and 18 produced within 2 weeks of each other. And I'm pretty sure that the casting marking will prove that, yeah, that's not even the updating mark. Because...
And also, there's the thing of trying to blame it on the holster. With some random dude, okay, you may or may not have a point. But with this airman, it was in a holster. It was in his uniform holster. It was in the holster issued to him by the U.S. military.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was not a light-bearing holster because the Air Force does not do light-bearing guns at this time.
Right.
So this was a Safariland holster that's not light-bearing. And that, because SIG is laying everything on it's a light-bearing holster that's the problem. And now they're saying stuff, you should only use our guns with our lights on them. It's like, well, that's very self-serving. Kind of like how you keep doing your own specialty cuts on the optics.
Yeah. Have narrower lights that don't, so you don't need as wide of a holster opening so that you can't get at the trigger, even though that may not be the problem.
But you also have less well-performing light. So that's also important. How well does the light perform?
On one hand, I can see the argument of if you don't use one of our approved lights, then there may be issues. But again, with this, I have a hard time believing that SIG wasn't at least involved when the U.S. military chose that holster.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't see a way they wouldn't have been involved.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that's the kind of thing that companies work together to do the bid on.
Right.
Yeah. And again, there is screwiness going on across all of these. And that's really the terrifying aspect on it. Of, what do they know? What did they know? When did they know it?
Yeah.
Because they are making choices, and then they're not really doing anything to improve data, give us anything to work with, as just concerned customers, because guess what? You're a concerned customer. Do you want them to be a repeat customer? Because it sure as hell seems like you don't want them to be a repeat customer.
Yeah. It's like,
Well, they don't care about their commercial or law enforcement customers. As long as they get the military contract, they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That worked so well for Colt several times.
Yeah.
Well, and also this is a pattern, because if I remember correctly, they did their darndest to deny that it was that there was an issue with it not being drop safe in a particular fashion that wasn't part of the test, but would readily happen in the real world, until there were countless YouTube videos of people showing, it watch this, drop, bang.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And really, the very fact that wasn't a full recall.
Yeah.
But then there's the secondary argument on, I think I might trust those guns pre-upgrade more than the post-upgrade guns.
Yeah. We haven't heard of any pre-upgrade guns going off by themselves.
Well, the assumption is that most people are assuming that the guns going off are the pre-upgrade guns. But what we're seeing is everything we have documentation on is it's always a post-upgrade.
Yep.
And again, a lot of this requires more information to tear apart. That's why we have the parts survey, where it's just a Google forum sheet where, hey, you got a 320. If some information of changes we have recognized, everything that can be done and observed without disassembling a fire control unit. So all you do is pull your fire control unit like you're going to swap from one frame to another. And then you look over that, you look over the takedown pin, and you look over the slide. And that's pretty much all the areas that we're covering looking for data at this point.
And actually, might be a good idea. Could you throw a link to that in the
Absolutely.
show notes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And folks out there, like if there's a place where you could share it, share this, because the more information we can get on this, the faster we will crack this code.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this is a problem of large numbers.
And really, it's obscenely large numbers and really a lot of random changes. And even at that, not everyone is great about recognizing and making determinations of what we're trying to get, which is understandable because it's developed by somebody who has spent 2 months tearing into this design. And what I know to look for, because you show me a gun on Gunbroker, I can go, okay, that's probably just a stock image. And then if I get a picture of the actual gun, I can go, okay, that's pre-upgrade, that's post-upgrade. And if I get anything on the fire control unit, I could probably go, okay, that was made roughly in this time frame, that was made in that time frame. Because we're looking at it to get rough ideas, but then there's just that one-off that you're going,
Yeah.
now what's going on with that thing?
Yeah, there's stuff that have had parts swapped or got built from random kits of stuff left over in the bin at the bottom of the bins.
Yeah,
Who knows
and
what's in it.
And then it's just kind of just gathering as much data as possible because, hey, you get a look at one of those military surplus M17s, the ones that were actually issued to U.S. troops, brought back into SIG, and then swapped out. And next thing you know, you look in there and you go, wait,
It's like,
what the hell is this?
This doesn't match any commercial production or later military production.
It doesn't match any commercial production before or after this was produced. That's strange.
Yeah, this was a completely unique special snowflake. It's like, how did they do this?
Yeah, and that's...
You get all of these different variants and just stuff mixed together, and you don't know how the parts are interacting. And
or the tolerancing on it. That's the other part.
It makes it really hard to track the stuff down. So,
But again...
This link to the survey, is this something that you want shared far and wide?
Oh, yes. Anybody that's got a 320, it kind of gives you an idea of, hey, these are the information we're looking to gather. So basically, hey, what are the first 3 of your serial number? If you have the case, when does it state the date of production was? So we can kind of try and nail down when changes were made. And then it's
20 or M17s and M18s.
320s, M17s, M18s, anything in the X carry line. Basically, if it's something in the 320 platform, so 10 millimeter, 45, you name it, if it takes a 320 frame and is modular, we want information on it because they all can interchange to a greater or lesser extent. The truth is, I could pull a slide off a 2024, 2025 production M17, slap it on Heinrich's first generation 2014 production 320 lower and fire control unit, and it would probably work. The ironic part is you could not take the slide from that actually, no, we could take the slide from that and throw it on one of the modern ones because the weight relief cut, I believe on those, is actually in the same location as where the disconnector was put into the slides.
It might line up well enough to let it work.
And let it fire out a battery.
Yeah.
That's
why they
terrifying.
moved that weight relief cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's a mix and a match and all that. Because if I were to take an M18 slide, that wouldn't happen because there is no relief cut on the underside of the M18 slide.
Yeah.
Or your compact slide would not work on a modern pistol. But maybe your first gen long slide with the weight reducing cut would.
Yeah, potentially. It's concerning. Just
it truly is. And if, like SIG is talking about, hey, if trainers and classes are preventing you from using their gun, call our customer service and we are going to have a talk with them. It's like, this is not going to go well for anyone because with what's going on right now, there are large liability concerns from anyone, and I'm hearing, at least in parts of California, gun range insurers are saying, hey, you have to ban this. We can't accept the liability.
Yep. And once the insurance companies get involved at that level, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No range is going to buck their insurance carrier.
No.
Because the next step is, okay, if you don't make this change, we're dropping your policy.
Yeah. And honestly, at that point, you have every single trainer's got liability insurance policies as well. And in the gun community, you have some people that are, we're not going to care, and we're about freedom, and are happy-go-lucky. And then you have the other guys who are going, I am concerned about the safety of everyone in my class. My job is to do this class safely so everyone goes home. I'm going to be proactive and just discourage use of these guns in my classes.
Well, there are the folks who also say there is nothing wrong with the 320. It's on your head. You're not properly trained. You're careless. What?
Exactly. And that's really what it comes down to, is you have two communities. You have the community that says there's nothing wrong. You have the community that says that there's something wrong. And then there's guys like me and Matt in the middle who are going, hey, I have a lot of concerns here.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd be addressed.
I'm not convinced, but I'm worried.
And very much the worry is the largest thing, where if the company didn't just try and keep sweeping it under the rug and start suing the Washington police training area for banning 320s from use on their range, that was a terrible look. And somebody should have said, hey, we need to pause this as soon as the death of an airman thing came out last week. But SIG just went forward and saying, we're suing them anyways, which is like...
Yeah.
Well, and they've doubled down on their message of, no, the gun is fine. It's something else.
They're doubling it down yet again after the Air Force incident. And as part of that, they're saying it's still issued with the U.S. Air Force. It's still here. It's still there. And we convinced the FBI that the gun is fine after we finally decided to get involved with the testing, even though the report was written up during a time where SIG refused to be part of that testing. Okay. And then supposedly the Michigan State Patrol is now using them again. Okay. And it's one of those where things are going back and forth. And the truth is, if SIG would just issue out some level of clarity, some level of information, and actually, instead of trying to obscure this thing, go, all right, here's what we're doing. And honestly, probably since they have their lifetime warranty on all these guns, just say, hey, if you're concerned about your 320, send it in. We will go over it and make sure everything is fine. Mm-hmm. We will upgrade it to all the newest parts and all of that.
And worst comes to worst, they could also do, if you're concerned about your 320, you also have the option to, trade it in for
a 365
fuse.
You would have to, SIG themselves would have to be doing that, because...
No, that's what I mean, is SIG to do that.
Yeah.
Is, that, because that would go a long way toward building goodwill in the gun community. Is, okay, you're concerned about this, we understand, send it in, we'll take a look at it, we'll go through all the parts. If you still don't want to take a risk, we will exchange it for this gun.
I mean, honestly, anything of a comparable value in their line would also probably be a not terrible option.
Yeah.
Because they're producing the old hammer-fired guns still. And...
Oh, yeah, P226 would be nice.
I'm just wondering if they've got anything else in 10mm, because I've got to admit, those 320 10mm feel really, really nice. And they're tempting, but do you trust it? And
right.
That's the thing. Anything 320, people are leery of, spread to other SIG products as well. Well, the 365 is a completely different design, or maybe not completely, but nearly completely different design, and people are concerned about those now too.
Well, that's something that Ian McCollum talked about on his Forgotten Weapons video, and the SIG problem is no longer with the uncommanded discharges. It's with the public relations and the perception that these guns are flawed. And he mentioned that 100 years later, there are people who are still reluctant to shoot a 1903 Springfield because some of them weren't heat treated quite right. And
Right.
And so now we've got this with a lot of anecdotes. No shade on you guys, but some data. It's not. You're not finished yet. You said so yourself. And,
Not enough data.
Yeah, and a lot of injuries and one dead person. And so when you look at it from a public relations standpoint, you have people who are going, so the SIG P320 doesn't provide any benefit that similar polymer guns, striker-fired 9mm, don't have. But there's this question about whether or not they're reliable. And it's that question that is the heart of the problem, because people have, maybe not everyone, but a significant amount of people have lost faith in the product, and they're losing faith in the company. And then when the company does something like suing a police academy to force them to use a gun that the academy feels is unsafe, I mean, this is the gun version of the bake the cake lawsuit. This,
well, and
it's really, really bad, and I have to wonder what SIG is thinking.
well, and on top of that, this ends today notice that they'd put up where they were saying that anybody who is saying that their gun might possibly be unsafe is clearly an anti-gun shill, etc. And a lot of people look around going, so these prominent gun YouTubers or gun trainers or other people that either make their living off of firearms, or like us who we don't get a dime, but clearly we're pro firearm, and the firearms community is a big deal to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't, just to be clear, we would not turn down those dimes if they came our way.
Right. But and sorry, I shouldn't forget our Patreons. We love you guys.
Yes.
But we're definitely not getting any money from the industry, although, as David pointed out, we will happily do so.
Yes. So if anyone from Brownells or Gunbroker, PSA, etc., are listening, reach out.
Yeah.
So long as it's honest, it's got to be honest. We're not going
Right.
to take the SIG P320 and say, oh, there's absolutely no sign that it'll ever do any malfunction ever.
Yeah, we're not going to say anything we wouldn't otherwise say.
Right.
Gun lube, holsters, that breakthrough suppressor cleaner stuff, all of that's all fine and dandy and good, useful stuff. But
We'll
that's
always take ammo.
honestly the thing with me and Heinrich. We're doing this because we have 320s. We see that there's all of them out there. There are so many produced, and there are so many of the magazines out there that I hate to see all of this just end up in the trash bin of history and wasted, because a little bit of clarity, how many man hours, how much actual waste is being produced through all this, because we're not going far enough to just say, hey, there's issues, let's address them.
Right.
And I knew the slow burn. Heinrich, we were both hearing the slow burn. And then the It Comes Today goes, oh, you guys are just in denial. You're not actually being proactive, trying to find the problem in the background, trying to see what could be happening. And then when you start looking at the Washington gun law video talking about product liability, and when you start looking at what is enhanced violations of liability, and you just go, oh, hey SIG, you're really doubling and tripling down and then making all these unmarked, unannounced changes inside the gun just willy-nilly and randomly, that kind of shows that you think there might be something wrong. Otherwise, why change the part? Why not document it?
Yeah.
Well, and I actually had a theory as to one of the reasons why a possible reason that we're now having firearms that are getting these stealth upgrades. When Weer'd has talked about, famously Smith and Wesson had, my Model 13, I think, is like a Model 13-2.
Yeah.
And I'm actually kind of curious if firearms manufacturers have been making these stealth changes and not making clear documentation that they're happening because of sales registries of like California, or I believe Massachusetts. Weird Massachusetts has a handgun roster that
Absolutely.
it has to be on. Yeah,
that's why I'm always saying, "Oh, Weird, you should get X handgun," and I say it's not safe.
Yeah, that they may be afraid, or they may have been told that no, if you call it a Model 13-2, that is clearly different than a Model 13. Therefore, you have to go through the entire thing again.
Or if they go so far as to change one of the internal parts, you have to go through the whole certification program again.
Right.
If they
With all that
change
added
the
cost.
finish on the slide.
I will tell you right now, so on the Massachusetts handgun roster, there are dash codes for Smith and Wessons, and so there are essentially older versions of, and possibly newer versions of Smith & Wesson, like say revolvers, that are approved, and then there are updated versions that are not, because again, it's every SKU number. So again, you've got a 1911 that is just a standard 5-inch stainless steel Smith & Wesson 1911, and then they have a version of it that comes from the factory. Instead of with the Hogue rubber grips, it comes with rosewood grips. Two completely different guns per catalog number, and therefore they both needed to be tested. Even though, again, swapping the grip panels on a gun does not change the functionality of the gun, and certainly not the safety of the gun.
Yep.
So
honestly,
anti-gunners are making things more dangerous for us. Good job, guys.
Honestly,
That's their
if
goal.
that could be proved that is the reason why some of these changes are being made in a stealth manner, that would be excellent to have in a case challenging any of these, going, hey, there can't be safety updates to these designs because of these laws. So your safe gun registry is making more unsafe guns be sold.
You'd think that the product safety watchdogs would bring a lawsuit against it on those grounds alone.
Well, and famously, the Glock, the Gen 3 Glock is still in production because it's on the California handgun roster.
Yeah, that's correct.
And a new SIG P320 meme just dropped.
And of course, California is trying to ban the Glocks because, well, they're too easily converted to a machine gun with a switch, and it's like, there's your problem there, because you can't let them put on one of the new ones that they could make a change to prevent that. You won't allow that to be put on the registry to be sold.
Yeah.
So this is not about safety. Because if it was about safety, those would be the groups who are having lab testing actually going, okay, what the hell's going on here? But there's not lab testing. There's a bunch of enthusiasts who have them who are doing testing. Some people might have a thing against SIG. And honestly, the more SIG doubles and triples down, the less I really blame anybody for having something against SIG.
Oh yeah,
Because
at this point, I love my 365, but at this point, if someone asked me for a recommendation for a pocket gun, I'd be a little hesitant. Not because I have any issue with that firearm in particular, but just with the idea of promoting SIG as a company right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
flat
Yeah,
out,
same.
I'm not recommending SIGs to anyone. Where I was very religiously since like 2018, going, yeah, look at a SIG. Highly consider a SIG. It's got all these benefits. Right now, it's like, I'm thinking about changing out what guns I use, what guns I carry. It's like, you know what? Maybe I should just go get that new HK or something else, because
Or
I have a
the
365.
the compact
Several.
echelon from Springfield. I have heard nothing but good things about the echelon.
Yeah,
The ones,
and
the ones I fired are really nice.
Yep, it's just then, hey, cool, you're now getting into another mag pattern and
Yep.
new holsters and everything else. It's like, just
Yeah,
changing out a gun, you have everything else surrounding it.
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why so many companies, when they make a new gun, try to get Glock mags to work, because they are the ubiquitous. They're kind of the default is magazine. They're not the greatest
And-
magazines, but
Mhm.
they're everywhere and they're cheap. So if your gun works with Glock magazines, you've got a market already.
And
Yeah.
the flip side
Yeah.
on that is the SIG 320 and 365 magazines
They're
are
really good.
everywhere.
Yeah,
And they're in almost every single gun store. You can
Yeah,
go into a
they-
gun store, it may not be as cheap as a Glock Magpul mag, but it's sure
Right.
as hell more reliable than the Glock Magpul mag.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that the Springfield, the shop that I worked in, Springfield, was making a good number of magazines for the Echelon. Because not a big shop, but we had a rack of magazines for them, and they're not extremely proud of their magazines like SIG and HK are.
Mhm.
I think the Echelon magazines, I think, were somewhere in the mid to upper $20 range,
Wow.
maybe low
That-
30s when they first came out, but I
that-
think they were just below $30 when I last saw.
That's pretty darn cheap for a new gun magazine.
Yeah, I'm not. My memory's not perfect, so I may be off on that, but that's what I
Right.
remembered. And then the same
And-
thing with the Kuna that they just came out with. They're not CZ magazines. The Kuna magazines are different, but those are definitely in the 20 something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
again, that's what it comes down to, is proprietary magazines are a problem until somebody adopts enough of them. As for Erin's question of what's wrong with the Glock magazines from Magpul, they've always had reliability issues, and they still do. Last time I was in
tracking issues was what I
competition,
heard.
I was doing several of the 21 rounders and even the 15 and 17 rounders, and failing to get proper ejection with the last round fired, it would jam the gun up. It just wouldn't eject the round. You have a standard Glock mag, comes out every single time, no problem. Gun works perfectly fine. Throw a mag pull in there, it's not working right.
I haven't had any problems with them, but I haven't used them near as much as you have.
Oh, I honestly, Magpul, when it comes to Magpul, they have a great reputation, but I also have a laundry list of Magpul mags that are like,
Yeah. If you go into them deep enough, you'll find some that don't work as well.
the
But-
308 25 rounders.
Yeah.
I have one gun where it's like, yeah, I'd love to have the 25 rounders. Rounds 25 down to 12, every other round will jam the gun because uncontrolled feeds. And that's
I-
with multiple different revisions of that magazine.
Hmm.
And
I just checked the Springfield website. They list the Kuna magazines at $25 at the store. The Echelon magazines are more expensive than that, so they may have been mid to upper 30s, not mid to upper 20s. I might have just been conflating the two. So apologies.
no, either way, they're not terribly priced.
No,
But it's
but
not
they still have to buy them.
And when you realize for large amounts of competitions, and anyone who's taking shooting seriously, you're going to end up with 20, 30 mags easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with me and Heinrich, we have massive piles of 320 mags at this point. Which it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, I wish there was some way for SIG to easily pull this out to fix the design and regain trust. I really am not sure what they can do other than a full redesign of the slide and parts of the fire control unit to truly fix this and
Yeah.
in such a way that it will work, unless they're just going to put in the dingus. But even that's only a partial fix, and there's a lot of hate in the SIG community about even ever having the dingus. Somebody will bring it up in a forum, and the rest of the forum starts beating them down. No, those are horrible. We don't need those. It's like, okay.
There's folks who are just resistant to change, even if they make changes. It's one of the things I remember with a lot of the Glock people who, no, the Glock is the perfect handgun, and they buy one and change half the internal, but it's still the same gun.
Right.
And I'm sure there are folks who do the same type of their 320s.
And I'm one of the types that I don't like the dingus. I think it looks silly and a couple other things, but I also have to admit that when actually shooting a pistol with the dingus, I really don't notice it.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Neither do I.
If it's done right, you don't even
Mhm.
notice it.
Yeah,
And even if it's not done right, you use it enough, you're not going to
Yeah.
notice it.
yeah,
I got rid of my
biggest issues
XDS
I've
because it
had.
didn't work.
Yeah, the biggest issues I've had is I've picked up some pistols where, as you said, it wasn't done quite right, and there was plastic flashing, sticking up and slicing a little bit into my finger, and just that's just poor craftsmanship.
Yeah, the XDS just didn't quite fit my hand, so the dingus. I just didn't reliably deactivate the dingus when I started to squeeze the trigger. So,
Okay.
And
yeah,
when it comes to the XDS, that's another one of those pistols that, just like the 320, has a fully cocked striker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
But
it
grip-
does not have the same rep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grip
I was-
safety and trigger dingus.
yeah. I was mentioning my XDM that I carried for a few years earlier, which yes has a true single action, this, that, and the other, but also has the grip safety, just like a 1911. So,
Yep. Unfortunately, SIG needs to actually start trying to take responsibility and addressing people's concerns instead of denying them, or they're going to end up in a Namboo situation. Because any gun guy that knows anything at this point is, yeah, be very careful with the Namboo. Don't carry the thing loaded because it's dangerous.
The 95 or 94 specifically.
Yeah,
Right.
But people are just going to go, okay, I can't remember which variant it is. We're just going to not do it with any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the 320 situation has hit mainstream at this point.
Oh my, yes.
And not mainstream gun culture. I'm talking non-gun people are talking about this. It's hitting the nightly news. It's getting talked about nationwide.
Yeah,
You
it's
have to-
escaped hobbyist knowledge and is into the normies.
yeah, I'm
And-
seeing it show up in my normie YouTube news feeds.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be addressed by the corporation, or the reputation of the company is going down. And that's unfortunate because SIG has been behind. Oh, yeah. But SIG has also done some of the greatest innovation and gotten behind it that we have had in the last several years. They really have pushed the optics market a lot, and they did it at a budget end, particularly with the Romeo 5s. They're doing a lot with trying to push forward pistol optics, which they're solid. Granted, Hollow Sun is also solid, and many other companies.
Like
But-
my Hollow Sun.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why the SB brace, people still call it the SIG brace. because SIG was one of the main people behind that thing, pushing it back in 2014 and got it off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They were,
Yeah.
they were doing a lot of innovation, and they still have some really neat stuff, like the 365 Flux version coming out. 6-inch barrel, 25 round magazines with a secondary magazine and a brace that can all go in a appendix holster. That's innovation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, can you
May
get
I also
any
say
trust it?
this is something I always wanted to do a project on, but never ended up coming to fruition. But I actually consider SIG as kind of the birth of what I call the modern handgun with the P220, where it is the fact that it is the first handgun that, number one, was using, innovative materials with an aluminum frame and a sheet metal slide. But it also
pinned in breech block. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, they're really nice. They're really, really nice. And then on top of that, so that was designed to use easier worked machinery or materials to make a cheaper handgun for police and military use. And then it was also the first gun to use the chamber hood as a locking lug, at least as far as I could find with my research. And the first essentially modern semi-auto handgun to not have a safety.
And they were the first to really push forward on the modular handgun thing for the average consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Ruger was doing it before SIG did it. Steyr was doing it
before them.
Mm-hmm. SIG was not the first one. They were the one to mainstream it and also bring it to the customer of like, oh yeah, you can change that grip. Because this was happening in the time where Glock, people were taking and modding their Glock frames and, well, I screwed up my Glock frame.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to get a new Glock frame, which is a new gun. Not with the SIGs. And all of that being mainstreamed was great things that SIG had done. And then 2018, the 365, the redesign of the magazine, it really, there has been a lot of innovation tied to this company.
Yeah. And they have been around for 100+ years.
Well, that
kind of.
A lot of that stuff, even I believe the SIG that Weer'd was talking about, I believe that was all a production out of the German branch of the company.
Yeah.
Where I think it was around 2013 where the US branch bought out the German branch, and now it is the US branch in charge and in control. And a lot of the innovation has come from the US branch, but it also is where all of the concerns are coming from at this time as well.
Yeah, but the history of the company goes back to actually I just looked it up, the 1800s. Swiss Industrial Company, SIG, was 1864 government contract for rifles. So SIG has existed since the 1860s. I'd really like to see them continue.
Yeah, and continue in a real way, not like Remington, Colt, where it's another corporation that takes over and is using them as a husk of what they used to be.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, absolutely.
Could a Glock with all its internals replaced be considered the strap of Theseus?
I mean that is, especially with like the new Ruger. What's it called? I keep forgetting the name.
RXM.
RXM. Yeah.
That's a chassis gun too, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. They went and not only made a Glock clone, but they made a Glock clone where they dropped a chassis into it, which is just brilliant.
And they sell it with the Glock, the Magpul Glock mags, though. That's kind of interesting. Is some of the reviews I've seen is, just use a Glock mag with it because the one that ships with it is what's causing them to be less reliable.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately it matches with what my experience is, no matter how much I wish it wasn't.
All right. Well, on that note, I think it is time to thank our listeners. Thank to each and every one of our listeners, but we must give a very special thanks to all our supporters on Patreon. To become a Patreon patron, go to patreon.com/Assorted podcast to sign up. Patrons get an early release of the podcast, plus bonus content like the ACP blooper reels, the ACP film tracks, and the ACP mag dump.
You didn't mention that our blooper reels were hilarious.
Well, they are, but it goes without
Hilarious.
saying.
Also, please remember...
No, I was just going to say, if it went without saying, Erin wouldn't have to remind you to say it.
Here, it's never wrong.
Also, please remember to rate us on Apple Podcasts and Pocket Casts, subscribe to us on the platform of your choice, and share this show with your friends, both online and off.
I got a blog. It's weerdworld.com. That's weerdworld.com. And hear me weekly on Handgun Radio on the Firearms Radio Network.
And you can get more from me at linktree/Aaron Paulette. That's linktree.ee/Aaron Paulette, all one word. I didn't hear you sing, Weer'd.
Oh, I missed it.
Yes, you did.
I didn't hear an E from that guy.
Yeah, that's right. All right, David, where can people find you?
Right here on Handgun Radio when I'm available, at the Handgun Radio and ACP Facebook pages, contributor to Blue Collar Prepping at bluecollarprepping.blogspot.com, and books with my stories can be found on Amazon under Brennabach. And
Oddball, where can people find you?
I have a blog at gunscarstech.com, and I can also be heard here and often on Handgun Radio. And I have been known to be lurking at both the Handgun Radio and Assorted Calibers podcast Facebook groups, and I believe that this will come out in time. If you happen to be at the GOA Goals conference in Knoxville, Tennessee on Saturday, August 9th and 10th, both David and I will be wandering around on the showroom floor. Please stop by and say hi.
yeah, you can't miss Oddball. He towers above everyone except Hickok 45.
Yeah.
And Matt and Heinrich, do you guys do anything separately, or are you guys just the dynamic duo?
I think for like stuff that we actually send out to other people, it's pretty much all collab stuff.
Pretty much, because it's one of those, we end up working really well as a team at getting this stuff done and bouncing ideas off each other.
You guys absolutely do, and that is Geeks, Gadgets, and Guns podcast. If you don't listen to it, you're wrong. And LFD Research, if you don't watch that, you're even wronger.
And confirmed.
Longer.
More incorrect.
Yep, we will still obviously have more coming out on the 320, and yeah.
And remember, go to the show notes, and if you have a 320, or say you work at a gun shop and you have access to 320s, and you can do some quick tear downs just to examine parts, please help them fill this out.
Yeah, it's really one of those things that if there's ever going to be accountability from SIG or determining what is and is not safe, this is the kind of information we're going to need. And that's not just us individually, it will be the community as a whole, because this might end up having to go so far as SIG gets sued to force the release of all this information.
Mm-hmm. Thanks to Nate Spencer for our music.
Some companies will take ownership of their liability issues, and others will try and sweep it under the rug. So,
our liability is assorted, and so is our podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.